incentive to build these siege units because they're so incredibly powerful. I don't have any incentive to build any form of archers. So you'll notice I'm just standing there. I'm basically just trying to get him to stand there long enough for me to hit him with those siege archers. And my paladins are literally just standing there to keep people off of my siege archers. So they're on stand ground. Yes. Yeah, that was misplay right there. The idea was, if I put them on stand ground and plug up that hole, they won't be able to get back to my siege onagers and I'll be able to bombard them. Obviously, I moved them. It's a bad play. This fight would have definitely gone better, but because of all the stables, I'm quickly able to replenish my forces. So, generally when I'm playing on really big maps like this, sorry, when I say big maps, I mean maps like Black Forest that are sort of designed for having large armies, I actually don't build that big of an army. You'll notice I only have like 25 cavalry. That's because my economy, with maxed out population and only 30 to 40 military units, my economy is strong enough that even though I've only got 30 of these guys, every time one of them dies, I have 8 stables there to replenish them. So what's going to happen is you'll see tons of these massive armies come flowing in from these guys. But because I've just got so many stables, I have, like, over the course of, a battle that lasts 1 minute, they send in, 3 control groups of 40 guys, whereas I have 20 guys that are always there, that never die, because I've got, every time one dies, they get replaced. And it's a little bit harder for them to do that with these 40 control group armies, 2 full control groups of 40. The downside to this strategy is if they, were able to overwhelm my forces and kill them fast enough that the replenishments weren't enough, then I would get overrun quite quickly. So that's the downside to this, and it's a little bit of a trade-off. And normally I wouldn't go this extreme, but I need to have an economy that lets me. Constantly have, a set number of troops. I can't go like 10 minutes without an army. Whereas these guys would be able to do that because they've got 3 other guys to rely on. So you'll see that, like, the replenishment forces for them, they're replenishing really, really slowly. Whereas for me, I can pop up my army almost instantly. Again, these guys are on stand ground just because I want them to just stand in front of my heavy scorpions. Heavy scorpions do massive amounts of damage to grouped cavalry, so I just want them to be as grouped. I want to make sure that my opponent's cavalry are as grouped as possible. You see, as soon as I break ranks, it's really easy to just run right past them, kill the heavy scorpions. The problem is this game. So I can, even though it looks like I'm losing my forces, I can keep fighting like this for a really long time. I can trade armies really easily because when I lose 25 guys versus them losing 25 guys, it takes them much longer to replenish 25 guys because of the way they're set up. You'll actually see that I'm actually still running low on food even with this, so I actually have to do a little bit of juggling to get my economy back to where I want it to be. Just because paladins are very food and gold intensive, but I've got plenty of trade cards going. So this right here is the So, like I was saying, I can trade armies like this all day. The problem comes not from the longbowmen and not from the cataphracts, but from the Teutonic Knights. Because Teutonic Knights do not trade very well versus paladins. They will just completely obliterate this army of paladins. The only thing I have that kills Teutonic Knights are these heavy scorpions in the back. And so what I try to do... Oh, and the longbowmen that he's starting to bring in. So the longbowmen will do fight against the Teutonic Knights. But the problem is, I don't have very good archers. So it's really only... I have to rely on my scorpions and my allies' elite longbowmen. And if we position correctly, we should be able to pin them down and hold them off for a while. Which is, the hope, at least. And we want to slowly... The more we trade, the better off we are. Because every time one of our units dies for one of their units, I get a small advantage. Because my economy, I'm a economically centered civilization right now. I've just got a huge economy going back here. You know, you can tell from the points, if you look at the points, my economy is, you know, almost double some of these other guys. Which means that I can, as long as we're trading about equally, we will slowly start winning this game. So that which is why the Teutonic Knights are a problem. The Teutonic Knights have insanely high armor. If you look at that, it's like 13, which means Paladins are doing like 1 damage to these guys, or 2 damage, like some tiny amount. Paladins are supposed to be, you know, this hard-hitting cavalry unit. They don't do anything to Teutonic Knights. So like this one Teutonic Knight will just like kill 10 of my guys. So I'm trying to mass produce. I might even build more siege workshops, maybe not. But I'm trying to build a lot of siege units right now because I feel like I'm sort of feeling like, hey, I need to be. The only way I'm going to be able to kill these Teutonic Knights is hit them with onagers because they're incredibly slow moving, or hit them with heavy scorpions because they have really crappy pierce armor. So you saw I was able to hit a pretty good group of them. That's the power of siege units in Black Forest. In Arabia or any other map that's really open, first, games generally end before you can get siege onagers or heavy scorpions. But second, even if you were able to get those units, the map is so incredibly open that it would be very easy for somebody to just get hussars or something like that and just run around your paladins and kill the siege onagers. And siege onagers are way too expensive for you to just be throwing them away. Like that. You don't want to be doing that. So generally, but on maps like Black Forest, an army of siege units is just so incredibly powerful because you can see like he's trying to run around my siege onagers, but Teutonic Knights are so slow that I'm able to kill just large groups of Teutonic Knights at a time, and that's really expensive for it and time consuming for him to replenish. Like he's, especially since he's he's running from all the way over here. He didn't build over here. So generally, in my opinion, you don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be running all the way across the map with your units, especially if they're slow units like this. That's why I've got, you know, 6, 8 stables, you know, however many stables there, 7 stables here, you know, 4 more down here. You want to have your military buildings spread throughout the choke points for Black Forest, because you want to be building units as close to the front as humanly possible. So if we were to break through and destroy this castle and, you know, start destroying these buildings, I would come in and start building stables and siege workshops in here so that we could press the assault even harder. But it's incredibly difficult to break a, you know, Byzantine, Britain, Teutonic, Teuton line, just because their frontline units, the Cataphracts and the Teutonic Knights, are incredibly beefy, and they've got just longbowmen, which are incredibly hard to deal with, which is why I had him go longbowmen, because longbowmen are really easy to you just sit in the back with longbowmen, and they'll never die because you just stay out of range, and they can hit people from really far away. Yeah, so a ton of Teutonic Knights there. Really, this is the only way I have of stopping Teutonic Knights. I've made myself a little alcove back here, but unfortunately, I, for some reason, wasn't thinking, and I stopped producing paladins for a short amount of time, and they're basically able to just run by and get back into that alcove and kill my siege onagers. He retreats, Craze retreats, because he doesn't really have a choice there. Now this is where things start going wrong. I was trying to keep an eye out for when this happened, but they actually broke this down, and they came with a lot of Teutonic Knights. There used to be a lot of dead bodies there, and they kind of opened up this two-pronged fight, which normally is not that hard to deal with, but unfortunately, since he's playing Teutons, and I don't really have an answer to the Teutons, I can't handle Teutons in 2 different areas. Not only that, but because of this economic approach that I took, it's very hard for me to field a critical mass of units in both places at once. if we look down here, I mean, I don't even really have any guys down here. And it's very difficult for me to get a decent amount of guys down here and still hold this front up here. But unfortunately, because of the way, because it's a 2v3, I have to do it like this in order to economically keep up. I don't know why I have trebuchets here. Oh, I was going to try and hit that castle, but didn't defend them, so they died. This is where things start going fairly bad for us when we're trying to hold now 2 fronts against Teutonic Knights, which are already incredibly difficult for me to kill, which basically means anywhere where there's Teutonic Knights, huge amounts of Teutonic Knights here, and he's still got some down here. Anywhere where there's Teutonic Knights, I can't really handle them. So unfortunately what happens here is this is his last group, this is Kray's last group of archers up here, which means that once these guys die, I can no longer kill Teutonic Knights without siege onagers. And siege onagers are really easy for these guys to kill, which is why you see them just run past all of my units in the front just to go back and kill my siege onagers. He starts knocking down his own wall here to make it easier for him to kill the siege onagers because he's kind of hiding him back there. And now now we're in a lot of trouble. I can't handle the Teutonic Knights, and they've got so many units that I no longer, like, my Paladins versus their Teutonic Knights, they lose. Paladins versus Cataphracts barely win. And then, on top of that, they've got Longbowmen behind them. So it's becoming extremely difficult for us to hold this line anymore. And you're going to see them just slowly break through. We're also trying to handle this over here. I've still got some troops down here, but mostly I'm focused on up here because a Paladin, Cataphract, Teutonic Knight, Longbowman army is incredibly difficult to deal with, and I don't have any archers, so it's not looking good, to say the least. And another thing about Teutonic Knights, they're infantry, so they kill buildings extremely fast. If they make it to your buildings, they'll knock them down quite quick. Unfortunately, I don't have much of a way to deal with Teutonic Knights. This honestly comes from just the picks. I don't play Celts very much, and I probably shouldn't have been experimenting here, because when it gets to this point in the game where the Teutonic Knights, I knew he was playing Teutons. When it gets to this point in the game where the Teutonic Knights are just rolling over my buildings, and I no longer can field that, quote, critical mass of units to stop them, and even if I could field a critical mass of units, the Teutonic Knights literally can, just one of them can kill like 3 of my Paladins. So this game was going to be really tough to win just from the get-go. If I had played Chinese, after this game I was sort of wishing that I had played Chinese, because they were still available to play, even with the bans. Only, I think it was Mayans and Persians and something else that was banned, I don't remember. But I could have played the Chinese, and Chinese absolutely demolished Teutonic Knights. Their Choco News do incredibly well because Teutonic Knights have such low Pierce armor. Really the only good thing about Teutonic Knights is it got really good damage and really good melee armor. But their Pierce armor is pretty low. Well, not low, but it's lower than their melee armor. So if I had gone Choco New, just a handful of Choco New would have been able to slaughter Teutonic Knights easily. And one of the reasons I picked the Celts was for their siege units. And Chinese get better heavy scorpions, which is the main siege unit I wanted to be using. Also, siege onagers, but heavy scorpions were the main one because of the Teutonic Knights. And their heavy scorpions do even more damage. They've got higher pierce damage. And you'll notice they're back here killing our trade route. It's over at this point, basically. It was basically over when those Longbowmen died, right here.